Hi, everyone. I'm Lauren Walker, the manager of athlete development here at USA Volleyball. And today I'm privileged to be joined by Hudson Bates. And he's going to be here to share with us a little bit about a couple of topics based off of his coaching and playing experience. So if you're not familiar with Hudson's background, currently he's the associate head coach and recruiting coordinator at The Ohio State. And he has been involved in our NTDP high performance training program for a number of years. But the fun fact about Hudson as well is he had an illustrious career, not only indoor, but also on the beach side. So we're going to probe a little bit of his knowledge and his advice. So obviously, as a recruiting coordinator, you get to interact with a lot of athletes. As part of the NTDP program, you interact with a lot of athletes. These are ambitious athletes who want to be recruited to play for you collegiately, who want to move to that national team level. But the reality is that many of them will experience disappointment in that. That might be their ultimate outcome goal, but they might not make it. So how do you as a coach help frame for these athletes how to deal with that disappointment?
Yeah, I think a lot of it starts off with how you initiate that relationship. Like one of the first things that I always try and tell guys on a phone call, like that initial getting to know each other phase, like dating phase of recruiting. The first thing I tell them is I don't want you to see me as a salesman. I'm not here to sell you my institution. I'm here to be more of a real estate agent. I have a lot more perspective and a different perspective than you or your friends or your coaches or, your teammates. And I can be a really good resource for you. I don't want to sit here and sell you my product. I want to get to know you, and I want to get to know what is the product that's going to best help you become the person that you want to be. And so I think establishing that part in the relationship helps me as we get further down the line. If it's a guy that for whatever reason we decide he's just not going to be a fit for us, I pivot right on to, hey, it's not going to work out for us, but how can I help you get, what else are you working on? What else can we move on to? It's rare for a guy after that conversation to hit me back up, but when it does happen, I love it. Like it's like, hey coach, I'm trying to reach out to this program. I haven't heard much back. Can you reach out to them for me? And I do. And I love having those conversations, and I get back to the guy. And I think just coming from that place of, I want to help. I'm not here to judge. I just want to help you figure out what we can get to, even if it's not with my program.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that perspective too, especially because the men's world is so insular that oftentimes you can help coordinate those connections if that's what they're looking for and if they take the initiative in that space.
Yeah.
Within kind of the national team development program, as you've seen athletes come to training series, go to tryouts in the old HP program, how did you help them frame the idea that they might miss out on a national team, but to still be dedicated in the gym toward that goal?
Yeah, I mean, I experienced that when I got let go from the indoor gym. It was a very good, positive conversation that I had with the coach, and I already could kind of see the writing on the wall. Like I knew that I wasn't the biggest, most consistent outside in the gym, and I had, I think, good enough self awareness. So that's one thing that I think helps is if the athlete has good self awareness, they're going to be able to read between the lines and kind of see what's coming down at them. But if they don't have that self-awareness, I think you, as a coach, as a mentor, you got to have some good, honest conversations with them. Another situation that I dealt with on the other side was coaching the U21 team. And, you bring 22 guys in for your training roster. And then about 3 or 4 days before you actually leave for the trip, you gotta list your travel roster. And so that can be tough because you still want those 6 or 8 guys who aren't traveling with you. You still need them to train. You still need them to like contribute and like give their all while they're still part of the group. So I think like giving and communicating that those guys still have value and still there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like you didn't maybe make the roster at this point, but how are you going to use this situation, this fork in the road? Are you going to use it as I got defeated and there's nothing I can do about it? Or I miss an opportunity because maybe I wasn't prepared enough. So let me use it as motivation. Let me go prepare. Let me find some extra ways to get better that maybe I haven't explored in the past. So I think that's, as coaches, we never want to be someone's last coach. If you're an athlete's last coach, then you might need to get out of the game. So we want to make sure that we're just like encouraging athletes that even when they're in a tough spot, like there is hope, and like giving them that hope through different ways is, different to each individual. But I think that really helps soften the blow when it comes to one of those tough situations.
Yeah, absolutely. Any other advice that you would give for athletes as they think about moving to that next competitive level? If their ambitions are to go after a national team or collegiate play, what are some of the pieces of advice that you would give them in thinking about leveling up competition?
Yeah. I I'll start even before that and remind me if I don't get to that level. But I would say through the recruiting process, it's like it's your first. I tell recruits this all the time when I'm, giving Q&As for recruit talks. It's your first time in sales. Like you have to sell yourself. You have to understand how to communicate with coaches and understand that you are a commodity, and how do you provide the information that gives those people that might be buying that commodity the motivation that you're going to be good for them. So that's something that I think is like a good thing for high school athletes to be thinking about, is like, how do I sell myself? And like one of the number one rules of sales is you don't take no for an answer. And so you got to keep going. And I tell recruits all the time, like sometimes hearing a no is good because you at least have a direction to go. Like if you're not hearing anything, you got to do a better job of reaching out and like bothering people. So keep searching, keep looking, keep being aggressive until you get an answer. Moving on, like after college, after whatever it is that your next endeavor is, I think just resourcefulness is huge. Like being able to sit back, go all in with whatever your abilities are. And then when you find a tough spot, like we want to be resilient, we want to be resourceful. We want to make sure that we're putting ourselves in the position to find those opportunities and be ready for them when they do come along. Because that's definitely something that happens is I remember my last season playing overseas, I didn't get a contract really early. And there's a part of me that wanted to just give up and stop training and stop working out and just, right off into the sunset. But there was a little bit of hope. There was an agent that was really staying positive with me. Um, about a month after that, I ended up finding a contract, and it scares me to think about like, what if I had just given up and that contract came along and I wasn't ready for it? So I think if you're going to dedicate your, you know, everyday life to doing something, you really have to make sure that you're going all in on it.
Yeah, I love that. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Hudson. Appreciated being able to pick your mind on wisdom on both the beach and how you deal with disappointment.
Cool. My pleasure. Thanks for
Thanks
having me.
much.
Yeah. Thanks.